which is set to become the world's fourth largest economy, India has a lot to offer to ASEAN as a region. As a committed dialogue partner that recognizes ASEAN centrality through its Act East policy, which stresses ASEAN as a core pillar of its engagement, we may also turn our gaze to India for solutions to our common concerns. Foremost, as a maritime and archipelagic nation, I wish to highlight the great importance of the rule of law in our oceans. Both ASEAN and India should see peaceful settlement of disputes and maritime cooperation as essential, as our seas contribute to the peace and prosperity of the entire Indo-Pacific region. In this regard, I thank Prime Minister Modi for India's consistent support for international law and the rule of law in our oceans.
And for now, here's a look at the top headlines you're tracking this hour. Russian President Vladimir Putin announces a successful final test of new nuclear-powered cruise missile, the Burevestnik, praising the unique nuclear-capable weapon with a range of up to 14,000 kilometers.
The key event really today here has been the presence of President Trump and also the signing of that peace deal between Cambodia and Thailand.
President Donald Trump co-signs a truce between Thailand and Cambodia during the first stop on his Asia tour. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney warns trade is going to shift away by definition from the US. For a period of time, the Canadian Prime Minister feels that this is partly due to US administration's lack of prioritizing moving towards lower carbon energy. Pakistan's top general Sahir Shamshad Mirza meets Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus. The high-level meet focuses on enhancing bilateral ties, connectivity and regional stability as well. Two suspects have been arrested over the 7-minute Louvre Museum robbery, which saw eight of France's priceless crown jewels stolen. Sudan's paramilitary rapid support forces claimed that they had captured the army headquarters in the city of Al Fashir, the Sudanese army's last stronghold in the Darfur region in the west of the country. The US and Vietnam have agreed to a framework for an agreement on what the White House says a reciprocal, fair and balanced trade between the two nations. Thailand and Cambodia have signed a ceasefire deal following a bloody border dispute in the month of July that killed more than 40 people and forced around 300,000 others to flee their houses. President Donald Trump and Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim co-signed the agreement in Kuala Lumpur on the sidelines of the 47th ASEAN Summit.
A momentous day for all of the people of Southeast Asia, as we sign a historic agreement to end the military conflict between Cambodia and Thailand.
The two neighbors agreed to an initial ceasefire in late July. Trump even said that there have been a lot of phone calls between the four leaders following the bloodshed in July, but says that his administration got it stopped. Cambodian Prime Minister has nominated Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize for his role in ending the very conflict. The peace deal, which Trump called the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords, will see the release of 18 Cambodian prisoners of war on humanitarian grounds. Both sides have agreed to remove weapons and landmines from the border and to establish a ceasefire monitor team from ASEAN bloc chaired by Ibrahim Anwar. This will conduct a joint survey of their border, run demining operations and even tackle the problem of scam syndicates. Trump even said that alongside the peace treaty, the US is also signing a major trade deal with Cambodia and a very important critical minerals agreement with Thailand.
Today, alongside this peace treaty, we also are signing a major trade deal with Cambodia and a very important critical minerals agreement with Thailand. The United States will have a robust commerce and cooperation transactions, lots of them, with both nations as long as they live in peace.
The ceasefire back in July had come after Trump had warned both Thailand and Cambodia that their war would endanger their respective trade deals and tariff negotiations with the US. Trump had also reiterated his claim that his administration had also stopped 8 wars across the globe. He then spoke about the current conflict between Pakistan and Afghanistan as the only remaining conflict, saying that he could quickly end that as well.
Although I heard that Pakistan and Afghanistan have started up, but I'll get that solved very quickly. I know them both, and the Pakistan, the Field Marshal and the Prime Minister are great people, and I have no doubt we're going to get that done quickly. That one started up a few days ago.
Trump has repeatedly claimed that he has ended several wars and at least 5 of those were stopped using trade and tariffs as leverage. President Trump has made the same claim about the recent India-Pakistan conflict too. However, India has strongly denied Trump's claims, saying that the hostilities ended only after Pakistan reached out and requested it. And we earlier spoke with our correspondent Adam Hancock from Kuala Lumpur, asking him about the trade relations. US signing multiple trade deals with countries like Malaysia earlier today. Here's an excerpt from that conversation.
I think it makes a huge difference, even though he's only here for a day. It's quite rare in recent times for a US president to come to an ASEAN summit. President Trump only went to one ASEAN summit back in 2017 in Manila. So having some FaceTime with him today is crucial, really, in trying to make these breakthroughs and improve trade relations with the United States. We've also already seen deals announced with Malaysia, with Thailand and Cambodia, some regarding trade, some regarding critical minerals today. And I think this evening at the US-ASEAN Working Summit, there will also be a chance for more trade deals to be done and more trade talks to take place. So I think it sends a message to ASEAN from the United States that President Trump is open to cooperating with this region and speaking to leaders here. And it also gives leaders in this region an opportunity for face-to-face talks, which is quite a rare occurrence.
Well, Russia has tested a new nuclear-capable, nuclear-powered cruise missile named Burevestnik. According to Russia's top general, the missile travelled 14,000 kilometers and was in the air for about 15 hours. The Burevestnik missile, dubbed the SSC X-9 Skyfall by NATO, is nuclear-powered, nuclear-capable and pretty much virtually unstoppable. Putin has also said that the 9M730 Burevestnik missile is invincible to the current and future missile defenses with an almost unlimited range and unpredictable flight path. Putin, who is also the Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Russian Armed Forces, visited a command post, praised the unique nuclear-capable weapon and announced that the decisive tests are now complete. He even ordered the preparation of infrastructure to put Burevestnik missile into service in the Russian armed forces.
And now the decisive tests are complete. A great deal of work remains to be done to put these weapons on combat alert. That's clear. All the regulations need to be met. Nevertheless, the key objectives have now been achieved.
This missile is ground-launched, low-flying missile. Its erratic flight path and endurance make it nearly impossible to intercept, effectively rendering current defense systems obsolete. The Russian missile is said to have a massive range of 22,000 kilometers. Unlike conventional missiles that rely on chemical fuel, this behemoth is powered by a compact nuclear reactor. That means that almost infinite range and can circle the globe, evade radar and even strike from unpredictable angles. Though subsonic, its unpredictability and global reach, flying circular paths to bypass entire continents of defense, is what makes it a nightmare scenario for Western military planners. The crucial tests are complete, though Western experts had found that the missile had failed in previous tests. With nuclear rhetoric rising and arms control talks frozen for now, the successful Burevestnik test signals one thing clearly: the nuclear race is now back, faster, stealthier and far deadlier than before. The Indian military is now getting ready for massive tri-services exercise, Trishul exercise, that will be conducted near a creek alongside the Pakistan border from 30th of October till the 10th of next month. India has issued a notice to airmen notum for the exercise, and now Pakistan has also issued a notification restricting multiple air traffic routes across its central and southern airspace. Pakistan has not stated any reason for the notum for 28th of October and 29th, but it could be linked to a military exercise or a possible weapons test. India's Defence Ministry has announced that Trishul exercise will involve the Army, Navy and Air Force and is aimed at demonstrating the joint operational capabilities as well as self-reliance and innovation of the forces. Reports even suggest that airspace reserved for the exercise extends up to 28,000 feet. Interestingly, India is carrying out the exercise near the creek days after Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had recently cautioned Pakistan against any misadventures in this area.
Pakistan has increased its military infrastructure in Sir Creek. If Pakistan attempts to do any misadventure, we will send a strong message. Pakistan should remember, way to Karachi goes through Sir Creek.
Sir Creek is uninhabited and largely inaccessible marshland that lies between Gujarat state of India and Pakistan's Sindh state. The 96-kilometer estuary is strategically significant as it influences access to key sea routes. It is also one of Asia's largest fishing grounds, terming this as it teems well with the marine life. Pakistan's Navy Chief Admiral Naveed Ashraf has visited forward posts in the creek areas. Admiral Ashraf made several aggressive statements during his visit, saying that Pakistan is committed to defending every inch of its maritime frontier from Sir Creek to Jiwani, and also inducted 3 state-of-the-art 2,402 hovercraft into the Pakistan Marines.
We know how to defend our sovereignty and every inch.
Pakistan and Afghanistan are meeting in Cairo for peace talks, but before discussions, Pakistan is talking of open war. Afghanistan and Pakistan delegations are in Turkey for a second round of crisis talks after recent fight between them killed dozens of people and injured hundreds more. Pakistan's Defence Minister Khwaja Asif has even warned that Islamabad will now enter into an open war with Kabul, and that is if the ongoing peace talks in Istanbul fail to render results.
I saw in them that they wanted some peace. So if their conditions regarding us are met, then, God willing, there will definitely be an agreement. If we cannot reach an agreement, there is the option of open war against them.
Last weekend, Qatar and Turkey mediated a ceasefire in Doha to pause the hostilities. No incidents or clashes have been reported in recent days, but notably, the war of words has not died down. Asif, who led Pakistan's earlier Doha negotiations, had admitted that the situation at the border had been calm recently, but warned that it could change quickly if diplomacy fails, and also reminded that Pakistan had supported Afghanistan for decades, but by hosting millions of migrants, and sheltering them. In fact, just recently, Islamabad has been cracking down on what it calls illegal Afghans living in Pakistan. Its security forces shut down several long-standing Afghan refugee camps in Balochistan, displacing thousands of residents and demolishing their houses and shops. Refugees told that they were forced out suddenly without being allowed to gather their belongings. Asif's recent warning underlines the fragility of this current situation, the ceasefire that exists. Pakistan is struggling to combat internal unrest, mostly in areas bordering Afghanistan. Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of turning a blind eye to armed groups that cross the border for attacks, a charge that's been strongly rejected by Kabul's Taliban-led government. In fact, earlier Asif had also accused Pakistan's other neighbor, India, of running a proxy war using Afghanistan. Pakistan has been saying that the truce will hold only if Afghanistan cracks down on armed groups that operate from Afghan soil. However, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Chief Minister Sohail Afridi has claimed that the resurgence of terror is due to flawed policy of the federal government, and this while he represents former Prime Minister Imran Khan's PTI. The latter has been in power in the province since 2013 and opposes military operations, which are also resisted by tribal people as they often lead to displacements. On the other hand, Taliban-led government has accused Pakistan of creating a false narrative about the Durand Line, with Defence Minister Muhammad Yaqub saying that there was no discussion or even decision on the Durand Line during the peace talks in Doha. Describing it as imaginary, Yaqub stressed that the people of Afghanistan will decide on this matter. The Durand Line was drawn by the British over 130 years ago, meant to separate British India from Afghanistan. It remains one of the world's most disputed frontiers, unrecognized by Kabul and fueling endless tensions in the region. Shifting focus to news from France, its crown jewels vanished from the Louvre a week ago, and now 2 suspects are under arrest, but the glittering mystery is far from over. One of the suspects was apprehended around 10 p.m. local time on Saturday at Paris Charles Airport as he was about to board a plane aboard. However, the arrest is being reported now by French media as well, with 8 artifacts worth a staggering $102 million. Among them were diamond and emerald-laden pieces once worn by 19th century royals, including Napoleon III's wife, Empress. The crime shocked the nation and left Louvre humiliated. The thieves struck with precision and calm. It was on 19th of October that Paris awoke to one of the boldest heists in modern times, and this as 4 men disguised as construction workers used a stolen lifting truck to scale the Louvre's scene, and this under just 7 minutes. They smashed their way into a polo gallery home to France's priceless crown jewels and vanished into the Parisian streets on motorbikes before police could react. Investigators believe that at least 2 members of the gang are still at large and could already be attempting to melt down or even sell parts of the collection on the black market. For now, France's most glittering treasures remain lost and its pride wounded. The question haunting Paris is, will the jewels of France ever return to their rightful home? Although French ministers insist security at the museum had worked properly on the day, Louvre director has spoken of weak and aging infrastructure and lack of CCTV cameras at the famed museum. The Louvre has now transferred some of its most precious jewels to the Bank of France after the spectacular daylight heist exposed woeful flaws in museum security. This will now be stored in the bank's most secure vault, 26 meters below the ground floor of its elegant headquarters in central Paris. The vault is already home to 90% of France's gold reserves. In Ireland, left-wing independent candidate Catherine Connolly has won a landslide victory in the country's presidential election. Addressing her supporters following her historic victory, Connolly emphasized unity, democratic values, and a commitment to serving all Irish citizens.
I will be a president who listens and who reflects and who speaks when it's necessary, and a voice for peace. a voice that builds on our policy of neutrality, a voice that articulates the existential threat posed by climate change, and a voice that recognises the tremendous work being done, the length and breadth of the country, and we need to recognise that and ensure it is properly resourced.
Connolly's only rival, Heather Humphrey, conceded defeat after hours of counting on Saturday. Connolly's win was marred by a record number of spoiled ballots and other voters failing to turn up amid frustration at the lack of right-wing options and issues which include immigration and crime. While the presidency is largely ceremonial office, Connolly's stridently left-wing views on foreign policy, social justice and housing could cause friction with the Irish government. A lawyer and outspoken critic of both the US and the European Union, Connolly has said in the past that she wishes to ring-fence Irish neutrality from what she calls Western militarism, and has even likened Germany's arms spending to the Nazi era and accused the UK and US of enabling genocide in Gaza region. The Life Insurance Corporation of India, India's largest insurer, has hit back at Washington Post report that alleged that officials orchestrated LIC's investments in the Adani Group. LIC has categorically denied the allegations, stating that all investments are made independently, following board-approved policies and even detailed due diligence. The insurer emphasized that neither the Department of Financial Services nor Niti Aayog has any role in investment decisions. Government officials, even cited by Financial Express, rejected claims that LIC funds were steered to the Adani Group, highlighting that LIC's exposure to Adani is significantly lower than other conglomerates. The US publication had claimed that government agencies drafted and pushed a proposal to invest roughly 33,000 crore rupees in Adani companies. Opposition leaders have demanded a probe alleging misuse of policyholders' savings. LIC invests across 351 publicly listed stocks, with its Adani exposure at 4% of the equity portfolio and less than 1% of annual investments. Officials suggest that the timing of the allegations could be aimed at destabilizing market confidence during a period of strong economic activity. LIC has reaffirmed that its investment processes prioritize transparency, governance and the best interests of its 300 million policyholders. Well, the beloved Gaulish warrior Asterix is back with a new adventure, which is Asterix in Lusitania, which is being launched globally this month. Released simultaneously in 19 languages and across 25 countries, the new comic book takes readers, young and old, on a hilarious journey to ancient Portugal, known in Roman times as Lusitania. This as 66 years after the first appearance of the iconic character created by the legendary duo René Goscinny and Albert Uderzo. This new installment fills a notable a gap in Indomitable Gaul's travelogue. While Asterix and Obelix have journeyed across Gaul, Italy, Britain, Egypt and even to America, Lusitania remained one of the few corners of the vast Roman Empire they had yet to visit. This eagerly anticipated comic continues the tradition of blending historical settings with slapstick humor and witty social commentary. Fans can now expect to see Asterix and his companions encounter new cultural quirks, battle inept Roman centurions, and perhaps discover Lusitanian secret to resisting the invaders, though it remains to be seen if it involves the famous magic potion. The release is a major global publishing event, solidifying Asterix status as a perennial cross-generational phenomenon, with millions of copies that have already been pre-ordered, underscoring the enduring appeal of the little Gaul and his steadfast friends. With a new land to explore and new set of challenges to overcome, Asterix in Lusitania promises to be a delightful addition to the canon for faithful readers and a perfect entry point for new ones. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of our broadcast. But as we wrap up, as Trump arrived for the ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, he was joined by traditional welcome dance ceremony on the tarmac as the Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and delegates lauded his cheerful arrival.
Indians and innovation, we've built a reputation. Reached for the moonlight and landed on the dark side. Traded in our wallets for QR codes and smartphones. Built up deterrence to defend and protect our freedom. Tech at 79, India's innovation story, only on WION at these times.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
This week on Wings, we cover a quick escape to Missouri amid rising pollution in New Delhi. Also on the show, a unique Grand Prix in Switzerland. And how flocks of sheep took over Madrid in Spain. Only on WION, World is One.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building, coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS centenary year, Kesariya at 100.
It's not just about who has the tech, but who has the raw materials to make the hardware. Not just about renting space on a cloud, but where do the servers for the cloud live? Not just about the place where your data is stored. It's about who has the keys to that place. Get all the lowdown on digital sovereignty and how it applies to you. This week on Tech It Out, only on WION at these times.
Countdown to ASEAN Power Play. All eyes are on Donald Trump. High stakes and higher expectations. Trade, defense and diplomacy on full play. PM Modi to attend virtually. Premier Lee to represent China. Will Trump pacify allies and counter rivals? ASEAN Summit. Continuous coverage on WION. World is One.
WION, India's global voice. The channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
Vielleicht nur als Imposant.
Those were some awesome moments from Nepal. Kukur Tihar, the second day of the 5-day Tihar festival, which is dedicated to honoring dogs as agents of Yama, the Hindu god of death and justice. From service dogs to pets to strays, the four-legged animals are adorned with garlands and flowers, celebrating human-dog companionship. Hello and welcome to Inside South Asia. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Let's begin. On 18th of October, in a significant breakthrough, Pakistan and Afghanistan agreed to a comprehensive ceasefire during a round of negotiations mediated by Qatar and Turkey. The peace talks held in the Qatari capital of Doha sought a way forward after more than a week of fierce clashes that killed dozens and wounded hundreds in the worst violence between the neighboring countries since the Taliban stormed back to power in Kabul in August 2021. Our next report explores the tense past and an uncertain future in the Pakistan-Afghan relations.
Islamabad, facing a rise in attacks on its security forces, has repeatedly accused the Taliban government of providing a haven to anti-Pakistan armed groups, particularly the Pakistan Taliban, which is better known by its acronym TTP. On the 9th of October, as the Taliban's foreign minister, Amir Khan Muttaqi, began an unprecedented 6-day trip to India. Explosions were heard in Kabul and in the eastern Afghanistan province of Paktika. The next day, the Afghan Ministry of Defense, without providing details, blamed Pakistan for the explosions. A couple of days later, the Taliban government said that its forces, in a retaliatory move, killed 58 Pakistani soldiers in border clashes that erupted between the neighboring countries overnight. Following almost a week of violence between the two neighbors, a temporary ceasefire of 48 hours was agreed on the 15th of October, albeit with each side stressing that the other had requested the ceasefire. As the end of the temporary ceasefire approached, a suicide car bomber, ostensibly backed by the Pakistan Taliban, rammed an explosive-laden vehicle into the wall of a Pakistani military camp in North Waziristan, killing at least 7 Pakistani soldiers. Early on the 18th of October, Pakistan and Afghanistan engaged in artillery firing in the border provinces of Khost, Nangarhar, Paktika and Kunar, fueling fears that the conflict could spiral out of control. On the same day, under a cloud of suspicion and animosity, peace talks were held in Doha. The talks were led by Pakistan's Defense Minister Khawaja Muhammad Asif and his Afghan counterpart Mullah Muhammad Yaqub. The next day, Asif posted on X that the ceasefire between the South Asian neighbors had been finalized, adding that both sides would meet again on October 25th in Istanbul to discuss detailed matters. Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid II issued a statement saying that the parties agreed on a complete and meaningful ceasefire. Welcoming the ceasefire deal, border residents expressed their happiness and hoped for trade to resume soon.
People were previously worried and wanted the Taliban and the government of Pakistan to reach an agreement because the fighting here greatly affects people's businesses. The locals have neither agricultural land nor other sources of income. Everyone's livelihood depends on border trade, whether on this side or the other.
Noteworthy is the fact that the ground fighting between the one-time allies and Pakistani airstrikes across their contested 2,600 kilometers frontier were triggered after Islamabad demanded that Kabul rein in militants who had stepped up attacks in Pakistan, claiming that they operated from havens in Afghanistan. The Taliban, on its part, denies providing a haven to militants to attack Pakistan and instead points an accusatory finger at the Pakistani military for spreading misinformation about Afghanistan and sheltering Islamic State-linked militants to undermine its stability and sovereignty. A day after the ceasefire agreement between Islamabad and Kabul, Pakistan's defense minister reiterated the Pakistan-Afghan peace hinges on the Taliban's reining in of militants attacking Pakistan from Afghanistan.
This was very clearly, spelled out that there won't be any incursions and TTP will not have any facility on their soil. We kept on repeating, and obviously they deny it, but in an implied way, both the countries, Turkey and Doha, Qatar, they pressed upon them that this is the main bone of contention, that your territory or your patronage or your support is there for TTP to operate in Pakistan. So we told them that this is something which everything hinges on this one clause.
With India's technical mission in Kabul now upgraded to the status of Embassy of India, it seems alarm bells are echoing in the power corridors of Pakistan, threatening to turn its creation, the Taliban, once a strategic asset, into an adversary.
Bipin Joshi, a Nepalese agriculture student, was 22 years old when he arrived in Israel. Just 3 weeks before Hamas attack on 7th of October 2023, during which Hamas took 251 hostages to Gaza. Bipin, who was photographed sheltering with Thai workers shortly before Hamas members reached the area, was abducted from kibbutz Alumim in southern Israel, where 10 Nepali nationals were killed. Reportedly, Bipin, in a valiant effort, saved his friend by throwing a grenade back at the assailants storming the community. It was on 13th of October the bodies of 4 hostages were returned by Hamas following the release of all 20 surviving captives. Bipin unfortunately could not survive his ordeal and was among the 4 dead hostages released by Hamas.
It was a homecoming that came after a 2-year agonizing wait, but in vain. On the 20th of October, the coffin of Nepalese hostage Bipin Joshi, released under the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, reached the airport in Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. Honoring the slain hostage returned from Gaza, Nepal's interim Prime Minister Sushila Karki draped a national flag over the coffin and paid tribute to Bipin Joshi's bravery in the face of adversity.
Bipin is a son of all Nepali mothers. The name Bipin will be immortal. No one can forget him for his bravery and the hardships he had to face. We may not see his body, but his soul remains in this country. Bipin lives in our hearts. He is immortal, and his name will remain forever in this land.
The next day, a cremation ceremony was held for the slain Nepalese braveheart in his hometown of Bhimdatta Nagar, attended by hundreds of people who came to pay their last respects. Before the slain Nepalese hostage Bipin Joshi's body was repatriated, a farewell ceremony was held at Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion airport as well.
We gathered here today in order to honor and pay tribute to Bipin Joshi, a young, enthusiastic and very ambitious student who came to Israel in September 23 in order to pursue a better future for him, for his family, working on various ways to improve his own life.
I'm so sorry. It should end this way. Bipin, great young man with dreams and future, talented person, came to Israel, and we're sending him back with sorrow and grief and agony after this massacre of October 7th, 2 years in captivity, and we are so sorry for that result.
At a difficult time like this, a prayer for the family of the deceased is in order. Hailing from a remote part of western Nepal, the family of Bipin Joshi was so far removed from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that reportedly when Joshi's sister learned of his abduction, she wasn't even aware what Hamas was. After nearly 2 years with no news of Bipin's fate, his sister and mother obtained passports and left their country for the first time in August to push for his return.
Almost 2 years without a sign of life. Is he starving, injured, alive? How can anyone survive 680 days in hell? My mom and dad are devastated, barely holding on. They miss their son only. They miss their only son. I miss my brother, my soul.
Throughout the 2-year ordeal, the family's only sign of life from Bipin Joshi was a short video clip, believed to have been filmed in November 2023 and later recovered by the Israeli military. That month, the Israeli military released what it said were images from a Gaza hospital showing a Nepalese civilian whom it did not name being transported through the medical facility on the day of the attack. In Alumim, the kibbutz community near the Gaza border where Bipin had stayed and was abducted from, 22 foreign farm workers were killed during the attack, with 10 from Nepal and 12 from Thailand. According to the Israeli military, Bipin's life was cut short in captivity during the first months of war. An innocent life, full of promise and hoping to build a better future, was stolen too soon. Here's hoping the return of the deceased brings an end not only to the agonizing wait, but to the days and nights filled with uncertainty and unspoken horror.
India's capital, New Delhi, woke up to a thick layer of toxic smoke the morning after Diwali. Despite repeated warnings and restrictions, residents celebrated with fireworks that sent pollution levels soaring, making New Delhi the most polluted city in the world this week.
According to Swiss monitoring firm IQ Air, the city's PM 2.5 levels, fine microscopic pollutants that can enter the bloodstream, were recorded at 23 times higher than the World Health Organization's recommended limit. New Delhi's air quality index soared to 442, placing it firmly in the hazardous category and making it one of the most polluted cities in the world. Locals say it's an annual torment that brings discomfort, irritation and breathing troubles.
It's like a kind of a cruelty on humankind that they are not trying to manage the pollution. The pollution should be like something which could be, managed. It's like a kind of for the next generations and for our living being. The more polluted air we'll consume, it'll like more harmful to our health.
Some residents blame poor management and weak law enforcement as the main reasons behind the worsening pollution. The Supreme Court of India recently relaxed its ban on firecrackers in the capital, allowing the use of so-called green crackers for a limited 3-hour window on October 19th and 20th. But despite the partial restrictions, people were seen bursting firecrackers across the city beyond the permitted hours.
Pollution occurs every year during Diwali. Now, the government claims to address pollution, but every year it's the same. Whether it's due to firecrackers or other crop burning, the smog and pollution happens every year.
New Delhi is unlikely to get relief any soon. The Ministry of Earth Science predicted that the air will remain in the very poor to poor category with AQI levels between 201 and 400 in the coming days. Meanwhile, other Indian cities including Mumbai and Bhopal also witnessed a spike in pollution levels, where buildings and skylines were seen shrouded in a thick haze. For many, the pollution has become more than just a health hazard. It's now a reason to leave the city altogether. A growing number of families in Delhi are relocating to cleaner cities like Bengaluru and Goa, hoping for a healthier life for themselves and their children. For them, the thick smog and rising health concerns are no longer seasonal inconveniences, but a long-term threat to their well-being.
So one stark incident was around Diwali in 2020, and Mir was still less than 2 years old. And I remember we had like 3 purifiers running continuously, of course. And then I needed more because it was just impossible to leave the bedroom and be in like even the living room. I felt terrible. I was like, I can't have my child breathing through this air. And also, of course, it was affecting me.
In my own individual capacity and in our capacity as 2 people who want to have a child, we do not want to have a child and raise a child in Delhi. And if we were to stay in Delhi, and if we were to continue to stay in Delhi, then we would possibly not have children at all. And I thought that the evidence and the research was compelling enough for me to make that decision.
Every year, after the celebration of the Festival of Lights, India finds itself in the dark shadows of a pollution crisis that casts hazardous health effects on its citizens.
And up next, we take a look at what else is making news from across South Asia.
Torrential rains lashed several parts of Tamil Nadu as the northeast monsoon or retreating monsoon sets in. The northeast monsoon usually begins from October to November when the southwest monsoon winds withdraw from India, leading to clearer skies, lower humidity and cooler temperatures in many areas. It brings heavy rainfall to the southeastern coast, especially Tamil Nadu, through tropical cyclones in the Bay of Bengal. This year, the northeast monsoon has kicked in early and at least 4 days sooner for the second year running over Tamil Nadu. Hours of relentless rain have paralyzed the state capital, turning several neighborhoods into waterlogged zones and slowing vehicular movement across the city.
Sri Lankan opposition politician Lisantha Wickremasekara was shot dead by an unidentified gunman on the 22nd of October. He was in his office meeting in Weligama with his constituents when a gunman wearing a face mask and carrying a helmet shot him at close range and fled on a motorcycle with another person. The details were captured in the CCTV footage released by the police. Wickremasekara was a member of the opposition Samagi Jana Balavagaya or the SJB party, which has been locked in a bitter power struggle with the ruling party over control of Weligama Council. This marks the first assassination of a politician since President Anurakumara Dissanayike's government came to power last year, pledging to restore law and order.
Bangladesh fear losses of more than $1 billion after a devastating fire broke out at the import section of Dhaka's Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport. According to experts, this could be a severe blow to Bangladesh's export supply chain ahead of the crucial Christmas season. Clothes and raw materials were among the goods destroyed, which could put some businesses at risk. The cause of the fire, which took 27 hours to extinguish, is still being investigated. The blaze had forced the temporary suspension of flights and airport operations. Bangladesh is the world's second largest exporter of clothes after China.
This week marks 30 years since one of the biggest Indian romantic blockbuster films, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, was released. Audiences still queue up for a nostalgic escape even today at Mumbai's Maratha Mandir. Take a look.
मुझे तुमसे प्यार हो गया है।
Like we were not there when it got released because it's so old as per our generation. But we never got a chance to watch it on a big screen. We always watch on TVs or mobile phones and all. But this experience is really great. Like goosebumps are there when we like watch these scenes on the big screen.
Seeing the purity of love, seeing how they have designed the set, how the story starts from the different country and they cross boundaries, come to India, and how SRK struggles for his love, and how her fathers actually leave her for, and he doesn't care about what the culture or what the people will say. That's what is so attracting about DDLJ for me.
अगर ये तुझे प्यार करती है तो ये पलट के देखेगी। पलट। मैं आ रहा हूँ सर। मैं आ रहा हूँ।
It's like Romeo and Juliet, but with a happy ending.
Yes, and the dancing and the music, the vestuario, the dressing. So if you like India, you're gonna love this film, and we like India.
तुम मुझसे प्यार करती हो?
सबसे ज्यादा।
मुझ पर भरोसा है?
खुद से ज्यादा।
The question of profit comes afterwards when we are going for a record. When you are going for a record, when my managing director, Mr. Arun Nahar, who goes for a record, we don't bother for the profit.
बड़े बड़े देशों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं। तुझे देखा तो ये जाना सनम।
Happy 30 years of this iconic film, Koki, Gulola, Koki, जो चाहे मुझे याद भी नहीं है ठीक से। But this is the most amazing thing.
मैं यहाँ तुम्हें अपनी दुल्हन बनाने के लिए आया हूँ और तुम्हें यहाँ से ले जाऊँगा तभी जब तुम्हारे बाबूजी खुद तुम्हारा हाथ मेरे हाथ में देंगे।
That's all we have in our show today. But before we wind up, we leave you with some amazing and unique festivals of India from this week. From Himachal's stone pelting ritual to West Bengal's Bama Kali's dance to the closing of Kedarnath temple. Take a look and I will see you next week.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Indians and innovation, we've built a reputation. Reached for the moonlight and landed on the dark side. Traded in our wallets for QR codes and smartphones. Built up deterrence to defend and protect our freedom.
Tech at 79, India's innovation story, only on WION at these times.
Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. To some, it's an extreme ideology. To others, it's the very soul of India. To some, it's rebellion. To others, it's a principle of nation building. Coming soon to challenge perceptions in RSS Centenary Year, Kesariya at 100.
Countdown to ASEAN Power Play. All eyes are on Donald Trump. High stakes and higher expectations. Trade, defense and diplomacy on full play. PM Modi to attend virtually. Premier Lee to represent China. Will Trump pacify allies and counter rivals? ASEAN Summit. Continuous coverage on WION. World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center. The WION Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions. We use the traditions of centuries-old natural science from India, yoga, Ayurveda, acupuncture, and naturopathy in personalized programs that help you take charge of your own health. A minimum 5-day stay is recommended for best results. Book now at yowon.com.
Hello there, welcome back to WION World is One. We are glad you're watching. American Joker, the headlines.
आसियान भारत की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी का मुख्य स्तंभ है.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually addressed the 47th ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, says ASEAN is key pillar of India's Act East policy, asserts 21st century belongs to India and ASEAN. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says Russian armed forces will respond forcefully in the event of strikes deep inside Russia. This as Moscow successfully tests its nuclear-powered Burevestnik cruise missile, a nuclear-capable weapon. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will have veto powers on Gaza force members, and this is acceptable by US as well, asserts that Israel does not need approval to strike foes. China reaches a preliminary consensus in its trade negotiations with the US, a top Beijing official says in Malaysia, this day is ahead of high-stakes talks between President Xi and Trump. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney warns trade is going to shift away by definition from the US for a period of time. The Canadian Prime Minister feels that this is partly due to the US administration's lack of prioritizing moving forwards or moving towards lower carbon energy. French authorities detained two of the suspected robbers believed to have stolen precious crown jewels from the Louvre in a museum heist. One of the men arrested was about to leave the country. At least 21 Maoist cadres, including a division committee secretary, surrendered before police Indian state of Chhattisgarh's Kanka district. Of the 21 cadres who laid down arms, 13 are women and 8 are men. While number 13, Belinda Bencic, wins her second title since becoming a mother by beating Linda Noskova in the Pan Pacific Open final. It's also the Swiss tennis player's 10th WTA title overall. Leaders from across Southeast Asia are attending the 47th ASEAN Summit. The theme this year is inclusivity and sustainability, a signal that it is not just another regional talk fest, but a summit with serious stakes. This is a crucial moment for ASEAN, a bloc that's gaining economic and geopolitical weight. Leaders from all 10 member states are present. The summit also saw major powers, including the United States, China and India, addressing the summit virtually. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said,
आसियान भारत की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी का मुख्य स्तंभ है। भारत सदैव आसियान सेंट्रलिटी और इंडो पैसिफिक पर आसियान के आउटलुक का पूर्ण समर्थन करता रहा है।
ASEAN has unveiled a 5-year roadmap to deepen regional integration, pushing for freer trade, faster cross-border business, and a stronger collective voice on the global stage. But make no mistake, this summit is also a geopolitical tug of war. Washington has signed a string of trade and critical minerals deals with regional partners. China also has held high-level talks, claiming broad consensus with the U.S. on several economic fronts.
My message to the nations of Southeast Asia is that the United States is with you 100%, and we intend to be a strong partner and friend for many generations to come. 1 year ago, we were in a different position, but now we're in the best position we've ever been, and I really do. I say it's the golden age of America, the golden age of the United States. Together we'll create incredible prosperity for the nations on both sides of the Pacific Ocean and to seize new opportunities for all of our people.
In the middle of this power play, ASEAN leaders are drawing a red line, insisting that any deals with big powers must not come at the cost of other member states. In other words, they want to be players, not pawns. And a big milestone today, East Timor, Asia's youngest nation, formally joined ASEAN as its 11th member. This is a historic step, a message of expansion, inclusion and growing regional weight. East Timor's entry also opens new trade and infrastructure opportunities across the region. Security is also front and center. Leaders have called for a broader ceasefire and dialogue in Myanmar, pushing the junta to engage with opposition groups. It's a rare, stronger stand, showing ASEAN's readiness to deal with tough international and internal conflicts. From a wider lens, this summit matters far beyond Southeast Asia. For India and other regional players, ASEAN is fast becoming the strategic ground zero of the US-China rivalry and a crucial node in future trade, supply chains and diplomatic alignments. Let's now listen to our correspondent Adam Hancock, what he has to say about the delicate balancing act between Washington and Beijing, a relationship marked by ongoing trade tensions, strategic rivalries and competing influence across the region. Hancock is on ground in Kuala Lumpur.
Well, it's certainly a difficult balancing act, and it's a balancing act that they've been having to go along with for a long time now, really. Most ASEAN members, they are very reliant on both Washington and Beijing for be it trade, be it security guarantees, and they need the world superpowers, really. And the world superpowers need this region as well. It's a manufacturing hub. They get access to critical minerals here, and it's also a strategically important part of the world as well. So it does go both ways. Most members of ASEAN, they try to sort of balance things out, try to be friends with both sides. It's a difficult thing to do, especially in times of tension like what we have at the moment between the United States and China. But ASEAN also operates on the principle of ASEAN centrality. They focus on consensus-based decision-making, and it can be frustrating at times for observers of ASEAN that it's sort of a slow-moving organization. It takes a while to get that kind of agreement. Things move very slowly when it comes to decision-making, but that's the way they've approached this. And so far, they are just about striking that balance between Beijing and Washington.
Mikael Volterson is a military and political analyst and a former officer of the Swedish Army. He's now joining us live from Stockholm. Mr. Volterson, thank you very much for making time for We on Wild as One, and welcome to the broadcast. Donald Trump avoided this ASEAN summit during his first term, but now he says that he's with the ASEAN summit and he's with South Asia for the rest of the time. Is he there to make a deal, or what do you think?
Well, maybe not a deal with ASEAN. I think that during his first period, he didn't understand the importance of the ASEAN countries because they were small by themselves. But now he has realized that the organization are important, and they are very strong economically. But the main meeting is probably with China to reach some sort of agreement. China will start to reduce export of rare earth minerals from November 1st. And as a response to U.S. restrictions against exports of important technology to China. And Trump has threatened with a 100% tariffs on China. And China would probably answer in kind, and that would lead to very big problems for the world economy. So Trump believes very much in the personal touch. So his meeting with Xi in Kuala Lumpur will be very important. And hopefully they can agree on something, but usually it just takes a couple of months. Then you have to start the process again.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Volterson, this summit, the theme is inclusivity and sustainability, but there are critics who say that the ASEAN is not progressive. What would you say or think about this whole grouping going forward?
Well, ASEAN has a problem. It's organized as a number of states just independent from colonial powers. So they are very aware of their independence. So ASEAN has no legal means to force the members to do anything. So they must agree on everything and then hope that all the states do what they agree. So in that way, it can't act as its own to make changes in the world. The different countries have to do things by themselves. And for the time being, the most important thing for most of the countries there are to get better economies and better living standards for their inhabitants. Questions about environment takes a second stage.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mr. Mikael Volterson is a military and political analyst and former officer of the Swedish Army. Mr. Volterson, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
This is breaking news from Russia, and a chilling warning from the Kremlin. Russia has vowed a devastating response to any attack deep inside its borders, fresh from testing a nuclear-powered cruise missile. Moscow is now signaling that the stakes in the Ukraine war is entering dangerous new territory. The Kremlin says its armed forces will respond harshly and decisively to any strikes on Russian soil. The warning follows weeks of reports suggesting the United States could supply Ukraine with long-range Tomahawk missiles, a move that Moscow calls a red line.
Indeed, there's a lot of speculation going on right now, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky himself, incidentally, recently stated that they allegedly possess the military potential to strike deep into Russia. Naturally, our armed forces in Russia will respond harshly to this, and as Putin said, staggeringly.
Speaking on Thursday, President Putin declared that Russia would never bow to Western pressure or threats. He warned that if long-range weapons capable of hitting Russian cities were deployed in Ukraine, the response would be overwhelming. Russia, a short while ago, announced the completion of a successful test of its nuclear-powered Burevestnik cruise missile, a weapon designed to fly for hours, even days, with an almost unlimited range. The Kremlin has described it as a strategic game-changer capable of evading all known defense systems. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says that if Tomahawk missiles, some variants of which can carry nuclear warheads, were ever launched at Russia, Moscow would treat it as a grave escalation. This is what he said: "We would have to assume the worst and respond accordingly." The Tomahawk's 2,500-kilometer range means they could reach Moscow or St. Petersburg from Ukrainian positions. The Financial Times reported recently that U.S. intelligence has been quietly aiding Ukraine in planning its long-range drone and missile operations, helping Kiev choose routes and timings to evade Russian air defenses. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to use UK-supplied Storm Shadow missiles to hit high-value targets inside Russia. Last week, a chemical facility producing explosives and rocket fuel in Bryansk was struck using these British missiles. Tomahawk is an American-made, low-flying, strategic guided missile. It is a precision weapon that launches from ships, submarines and ground launchers and can strike targets precisely. It has a range of 2,500 kilometers per hour and can reach speeds of about 900 kilometers per hour. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and other European leaders say they will tighten the economic screws on Moscow until Putin agrees for peace. But for now, with nuclear warnings flying and long-range warfare evolving, the line between deterrence and disaster grows dangerously thin. Russia continues its fierce attack on Ukraine. The Ukrainian capital is under fresh assault. Kiev's mayor says that 3 people have died in the Russian aerial attack, while more than 30 people were injured, which includes children. The drone fragments, according to Ukrainian authorities, damaged 2 high-rise apartment buildings in a residential neighborhood in Kiev, sparking fires in apartments on several floors.
I heard shots fired. Then there was an explosion. We decided to flee from the flat because there was very strong smoke inside.
Rescuers could be seen putting out a fire in 2 high-rise apartment buildings and evacuating people. Russia unleashed a deadly drone attack across Kiev. Ukraine's state emergency service said 13 people were rescued from a building that caught fire as a result of deadly overnight strikes. Kiev and its surrounding region was under air raid alerts for about 1 to 2.5 hours before the Air Force called them off. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for new strong sanctions against Russia and its allies, adding that Russia had attacked with over 100 drones. The strikes came a day after other Russian drone and missile strikes killed 4 and wounded around 20 others in Kiev, and that's according to Ukrainian authorities. On Saturday, President Trump played down prospects of a summit with Russian leader Putin saying he is not going to be wasting his time anymore. The remarks came as Kremlin negotiator Kirill Dmitriev met with Trump administration officials, including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff.
What will Russia have to do for you to reschedule your meeting with Putin?
I'm going to have to know that we're going to make a deal. I'm not going to be wasting my time. I've always had a great relationship with Vladimir Putin, but this has been very disappointing. I thought this would have gone long before peace in the Middle East.
Apart from the continuous missile and drone strikes, the Russian forces claim to make big gains on the ground as well. Russian Defense Ministry says that its forces have made advances in several directions, including Sumy and Kharkiv, while Ukraine says its troops had repelled Russian attacks in multiple areas, including Pokrovsk. According to the daily report from the Russian Ministry of Defense, its forces carried out strikes targeting Ukrainian defense industry facilities as well as its energy infrastructure. The Ukrainian side claimed it had destroyed Russian tanks, armored vehicles and artillery systems. France's crown jewels vanished from the Louvre a week ago, and now 2 suspects are under arrest. But the glittering mystery is far from over. One of the suspects was apprehended around 10 p.m. local time on Saturday at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport as he was about to board a plane abroad. The arrest is being reported now by French media. 8 artifacts worth a staggering $102 million. Among them were diamond and emerald laden pieces once worn by 19th century royals, including Napoleon III's wife, Empress Eugenie. The crime shocked a nation and left the Louvre humiliated. The thieves struck with precision and calm. On October 19th, Paris awoke to one of the boldest heights in modern history. 4 men disguised as construction workers used a stolen lifting truck to scale the Louvre's Seine-facing facade. In under 7 minutes, they smashed their way into the Apollo Gallery, home to France's priceless crown jewels, and vanished into the Parisian streets on motorbikes before police could react. Investigators believe at least 2 other members of the gang are still at large and could already be attempting to melt down or even sell parts of the collection on the black market. For now, France's most glittering treasures remain lost and its pride wounded. The question haunting Paris: will the jewels of France ever return to their rightful home? Although French ministers insist security at the museum had worked properly on the day, the Louvre director, Laurence Descartes, has spoken of weak and aging infrastructure and a lack of CCTV cameras at the famed museum. The Louvre has now transferred some of its most precious jewels to the Bank of France after the spectacular daylight heist exposed woeful flaws in museum security. They will now be stored in the bank's most secure vault, 26 meters below the ground floor of its elegant headquarters in central Paris. The vault is already home to 90% of France's gold reserves. U.S. officials are touting progress in the ongoing trade negotiations with China. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says both sides have established a very positive framework for discussions between the 2 leaders, but emphasized that the final say on tariff truce will be Trump's decision.
A successful framework for the leaders to discuss on Thursday. We discussed trade.